This film begins in 1969 with a guy named Benny Cross, who is part of a motorcycle club called the Vandals in Chicago. One night, while Benny is drinking at a bar, a group of people attack him because he's wearing his club vest. They drag him outside and beat him up in front of the bar. At that time, Benny doesn't fight back until one of the attackers knocks over his motorbike. Then he tries to fight, but he gets beaten up again and is left on the ground. The scene then jumps to 1973. Benny's wife, Kathy Bauer, is talking to a journalist named Danny Lyon. At that time, Danny wants to learn more about Benny's life. Then, Kathy starts to tell the story of how she met Benny in 1965 at the Vandals clubhouse. She went there with a friend and met a club member named Cockroach, who teased her. Kathy felt uncomfortable and wanted to leave, but she changed her mind when she saw Benny, who was very handsome. However, Kathy's friend warned her not to date Benny because he had a bad temper. Meanwhile, Benny noticed he was being watched. He moved to sit near Kathy and looked at her without saying anything. After a while, he left. Then, the leader of the motorcycle club, Johnny Davis, came to Kathy and told her not to be afraid because his club members wouldn't hurt her or her friends. When Kathy left the bar to go home, she saw Benny and the other bikers riding around. The club members invited Kathy to join them. There, Kathy decided to go with them and chose to ride with Benny. After a night of riding with the club, Benny took Kathy home early in the morning. When they arrived at Kathy's house, her boyfriend was waiting for her. Even though Benny knew Kathy had a boyfriend, he didn't care. He parked his bike across from her house and waited. The next day, Benny was still there, which made Kathy's boyfriend annoyed. He left Kathy because she didn't tell Benny to leave. Seeing his chance, Benny started talking to Kathy, and they soon began dating. Then, they got married a month later. Even though he is married to Kathy, Benny is a free spirit. He doesn't like being controlled or following traffic rules because he loves the thrill of riding his motorbike at high speed. One day, the police chased Benny because he was speeding. His bike ran out of gas on a road near a field, so the police caught him and arrested him. Even when he was about to be caught, Benny stayed calm and didn't seem to care. After getting out of the police station, Benny met up with Johnny and other motorcycle club members at a billiards place. There, Benny told Johnny about what happened with the... Johnny just smiled. Knowing his friend, Benny loved his freedom and didn't like following rules. Back in 1973, Danny wanted to know how Johnny started the Vandals Motorcycle Club. Kathy explained that Johnny was inspired by a movie called The Wild One about a motorcycle club member. Because of his love for motorbikes, Johnny and his friends named Wahoo, Corky, Brucey, a bike-loving entrepreneur, a repair shop owner named Cal, Cockroach, and Zipco, decided to create the Vandals Motorcycle Club in Chicago. Several other members also joined, including Benny and Big Jack. One day, Big Jack suggested they open a branch in Milwaukee because he had a friend there who wanted to join the Vandals. At that time, Johnny didn't agree with this idea, which made Big Jack angry. Then, Big Jack challenged Johnny to a fight to decide who would make the decision. Hearing that, Johnny accepted, and they planned to have the fight at a picnic with the Vandals' families in a few days. At the picnic, everyone was having a good time until Johnny and Big Jack started their fight. Big Jack, who was bigger, managed to corner Johnny, but he didn't give up easily. After a long fight, Johnny won by breaking Big Jack's finger. Even though he won, Johnny decided to let Big Jack open the Vandals branch in Milwaukee. After opening the branch, the Vandals Motorcycle Club grew bigger and often traveled together to different cities in America. One day, a 20-year-old called the Kid saw Johnny's motorcycle club riding through the street and was amazed. The Kid walked into the road without noticing a car honking at him. After Johnny's group passed, the Kid, annoyed by the car, smashed its headlights and walked away. Another day, Johnny and his club members went to a car show to introduce their group. Danny, the journalist, was there interviewing Zipco, one of the Vandals. There, Zipco shared his dislike for people who go to college and wear neat suits, saying they don't represent free-spirited Americans. Danny stayed silent, not telling Zipco that he was also a student who joined a motorcycle club. Meanwhile, Johnny is stopping another motorcycle club member who is trying to cause trouble with the Vandals. While Johnny is calming things down, Benny suddenly comes in and hits the troublemaker. Johnny quickly stops Benny and makes peace between Benny and the other club member. They all end up talking together. In the present, Kathy is still being interviewed by Danny. She reveals that Benny gets angry easily, which led to him being beaten up by a group of people in a bar in 1969. He had to be treated in the hospital after his attackers broke his leg. He was worried that his leg might be amputated and that he would no longer be able to ride his motorbike. On the other hand, Johnny was annoyed when he heard about the attack on Benny. He and the other club members rushed to the bar where Benny was beaten to find out who attacked him. After getting the information, Johnny ordered Brucey to beat up the group who attacked Benny. Johnny also burned down the bar as a warning to everyone not to mess with the vandals. Everyone who saw this, including the firefighters, stayed silent because they were afraid of the Vandals Motorcycle Club. After Benny was allowed to go home from the hospital, Kathy took him to a hotel for 3 weeks so he could recover. One day, Johnny visited and invited Benny to an event their club was holding. After Johnny left, Kathy, who heard Johnny's invitation, went to meet Johnny at a bar. She told him that Benny shouldn't join the event because he wasn't fully recovered yet. However, Johnny asked Kathy to let Benny decide for himself, which made Kathy annoyed, so she left the bar. Meanwhile, the kid was with his friends. He saw his parents arguing again, and frustrated, he hit his father, who was known to be rude to his wife and son. The kid's mother tried to stop him, but he didn't care. A little later, the kid and his friends went to the big motorcycle club event organized by Johnny because the kid wanted to join the Vandals. On the other hand, Benny, who was with Kathy, also came to the event even though he had to use a cane. At that time, a motorcycle lover from California named Sonic also came to the event to have fun. In the evening, Johnny and the others gathered around the campfire and shared stories. Zipko said he wanted to become a soldier and join the war in Vietnam, but he didn't pass the army test. After a while, Johnny and Benny stepped away from the group because Johnny wanted to tell Benny that he wanted to make him the new leader of the motorcycle club. However, Benny wasn't ready for this and asked Johnny to think it over. Around the campfire, the Vandals members asked why Sonic came all the way from California to join their event. Sonic admitted he came to fight Cal, who had left another motorcycle club to join the Vandals. But Sonic changed his mind after feeling the strong sense of family in the Vandals. He even decided he wanted to join the club like Cal. Back in the present, Kathy continued her interview with Danny and shared a sad incident. The Vandals had lost Brucey in an accident. Johnny and all the club members went to Brucey's funeral to pay their respects. Sadly, Brucey's parents blamed the motorcycle club for his death because he had died in a bike accident. In Kathy's story, the Vandals Motorcycle Club members were very sad about Brucey's death. While they were all gathered together, the kid and his friends approached Johnny, wanting to join the Vandals. Johnny said no because they were only 20 years old. But the kid insisted and showed Johnny his motorbike. Johnny then said only the kid could join, not his friends. The kid agreed quickly, but Johnny changed his mind, thinking the kid was selfish for leaving his friends. Suddenly, he got angry and attacked Johnny. But Johnny was able to defend himself. Later that year, the Vandals Club started to change as many new members joined, including soldiers from the Vietnam War. One night, during a party, Kathy noticed a red dress worn by another woman at the party. Outside, Cockroach was talking to the new club members and shared his dream of becoming a motorcycle policeman. The new members didn't like this idea and ended up beating Cockroach. At the same time, Cal and Sonic took the red dress from the other woman and forced Kathy to wear it. There, she was curious about the dress, so she changed into it. She looked beautiful, and many Vandals members were amazed. Then, Benny noticed that Cockroach hadn't come inside. So he went to check and found Cockroach unconscious in the yard. Johnny quickly told Cal and Benny to take Cockroach to the hospital. Meanwhile, Kathy started to feel uncomfortable because club members kept staring at her, wanting to sleep with her. When some men dragged Kathy into a room, she screamed for Benny, who was taking Cockroach to the hospital. Luckily, Johnny came and stopped the men from doing anything to Kathy. The next day, Cockroach, who was now out of the hospital, met with Johnny and Benny. He told them he wanted to leave the club. Cockroach asked for their help because he was afraid the new members might beat him up again if they found out he left. After Cockroach left, Johnny invited Benny to go to Cockroach's house that night with a gun. When Benny got home, he took his gun from the wardrobe. At the same time, Kathy appeared and told him about the bad thing that almost happened to her last night. Kathy then asked Benny to leave the motorcycle club and move to Florida to start a new life. Benny, hearing his wife's plea, couldn't decide and chose to go meet Johnny. That night, Johnny and Benny went to Cockroach's house. There, Johnny accidentally shot Cockroach in the leg and told him to leave town. When they got back to the car, Benny asked Johnny why he did that to Cockroach. Johnny said it was the only way to protect Cockroach from being targeted by the new club members because they thought Cockroach couldn't become a motorcycle policeman. Benny realized the club was in chaos, and even Johnny couldn't control it anymore. So, Benny decided to leave the club. Another day, the kid returned to meet Johnny after becoming a member of the Vandals. The kid challenged Johnny to a fight because he didn't like Johnny's leadership. Johnny accepted the challenge and told the kid to meet him in a parking lot the next night. The next day, Johnny said goodbye to his wife and went to Kathy's house to ask where Benny was. Kathy told him that Benny hadn't come home and she hadn't heard from him at all. That evening, Johnny, along with Corky and Wahoo in the car, went to the parking lot to meet the kid and his friends. When Johnny got ready with his weapon, the kid suddenly walked over and shot Johnny, killing him. Johnny's death marked the kid officially taking over the Vandals Motorcycle Club. After taking control, the kid turned the Vandals into a criminal gang that smuggled drugs, ran a prostitution business, and even committed murder. Back in the present, Kathy tells Danny that Corky and Wahoo are still in the criminal motorcycle club. Other members had different fates that died from a fall. Cockroach became a motorcycle police officer as he wanted. Sonic works at a cinema, and Zipco moved to Texas. Kathy also shared that Benny came back home after hearing about Johnny's death. For the first time, Kathy saw Benny cry because he had lost his best friend. At the end of the film, Kathy finishes her interview. She talks about her life with Benny, who has now moved to Florida and lives with her brother. Benny has left his old life as a motorcycle club member and now works as a mechanic. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is if your motorcycle club starts causing more drama than a soap opera, it might be time to trade in your leather jacket for a comfy mechanic's uniform in sunny Florida.